Hi, good evening, and welcome to tonight's table talk with our Shocker families. My name is Alicia Newell, and I have the privilege of serving as one of the assistant vice presidents for student affairs here at Wichita State University. Tonight's table talk topic is our first generation students. And one of the things you should know as a member of the Shocker family is that Wichita State is very unique in the fact that we make up almost 50% of our student population who is first generation, which means that neither parent has graduated from a four-year university. And so we take a lot of pride in being a first generation destination in the state of Kansas, and knowing that our students are coming to the university and they are changing the trajectory of their families' lives by being the first in their family to graduate from a four-year university. I myself am a first generation college student, and it brings me so much pride to be able to bring the many lessons learned that I had to learn along the way, as many of my colleagues as well, and being able to share those resources with our students to be able to help them within their progress and journey within the university. And so we welcome you all tonight. We're going to share information with you on what resources the university has available to support our first generation students and other opportunities that your students can take advantage of that is specifically for them to ensure their success. So as we get started, I'm going to introduce my fearless colleagues. Ms. Kim Sandlin, who serves as our Director of Student Success. And she also is a proud alumna of the university. She'll introduce herself. So take it over, Kim. I'll let you do a quick intro.
Hello, good evening, everyone. We're glad you are back with us for our next to last table talk. I am an alum of the university, but also was first generation. And I didn't know I was first generation when I was a student. I didn't know I was first gen until we started really talking about this on our campus. And started, what is the definition and how are we celebrating our students? And a lot of students, I don't think, used to know that they were first generation. I had an older sister who attended, and so I thought, there's no way. I had her. She helped me through yes and no, right? So I didn't know I was first gen until we really started to prioritize this and celebrate it, because it is something that makes our campus unique. And we even had parents in previous years at this very topic session, evening table talk, say, I didn't realize my kid is first gen. Maybe I only had a 2-year degree, or maybe I had some college, but I didn't finish. And so I think a lot of people don't even know that they are first gen, don't even realize they're first gen. So we're really trying to elevate this as a topic on our campus to really formulate some support and some interesting and new and different types of celebrations, but also resources and events that you'll learn a little bit about tonight around, first gen students. So I am happy to be here, and that's enough for me because we got a lot of really great stuff coming from our experts tonight. So I'll throw it back to you, Alicia.
Thanks, Kim. So our first department that we are going to have them share information with you about ways for your student to get connected and engaged with is our Office of Strengths Assessment and Staff Engagement within Student Affairs. They provide a really kind of a different holistic approach to supporting students, whether that's through some of the strengths initiatives that they have, first generation programming, as well as working within the Division of Student Affairs and our student employees and helping them gain additional skill sets. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kennedy and Jordan Bibbs to get us started. If you will introduce yourselves and then go ahead and share information about your department and how students can connect and engage with your office.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us and letting us come talk with you all tonight about some of the initiatives that our department is excited to host over the year. As Alicia said, my name is Kennedy, and I get to be I have the honor of being a director of our Small But Mighty Amazing team. We like to go by SASSY for short. So if you are ever on campus or if you ever have questions, you could always just check out SASSY. We would love to hang out with you and answer any of those for you. And then I will go ahead and let Jordan introduce herself, and then we'll get started talking about some of the things that we're bringing to you in the fall.
Yes, so my name is Jordan Bibbs, and I am the program coordinator out of SASSY, specifically working with first generation student programming. So as mentioned, 50% of our student body here on campus is first generation students. And so we want to make sure that there is programming there to support our students, whether that's events, whether that is just connecting them with the appropriate offices on campus for their needs, lending them a helping hand. That's sort of what my role is. I do work with all students all over campus, but that is a vast portion of the student body that I am engaged with is first generation students.
Yes. So we do have a counterpart. Her name is Emily. And so she also helps us quite a bit with things like that. So hopefully here in like the next few weeks to the first month around campus, your students, you are going to get information from one of us talking to you about some upcoming opportunities. And the one I'm going to talk about is our Shocker Strengths initiative. And so I always like to share with people that the goal of Shocker Strengths is a campus-wide initiative that connects our students with their talents. And so one of the things I love about Strengths is that it's really asset-based and it's positive, and it's a really cool way to think about how we empower ourselves and the talents that we're bringing into the campus environment. And so my strengths are learner, achiever, restorative, positivity, and woo, which always catches a lot of people by surprise, but it's a lot of fun because when we share those words, I get to then explain to them what are some of the talents that I bring with me in these experiences, into these environments that help me be a successful college student, peer, colleague, friend, and things of that nature. And so what we do at the initiative is every incoming student gets the opportunity to take the Clifton Strengths Inventory, which is a premier leadership development tool, also helps you identify your strengths in terms of how you might use those for academic and college success. And so once they take that inventory, again, at no cost to them, we have a series of programs and outreach communications that we send out to your students throughout the whole year. And so part of it is just checking in and seeing what they need, if they have any questions, how we can help support them, and some of the other things that they're doing. And some of it is information like, hey, if you're a learner and you love learning, have you considered taking this LinkedIn Learning course? Or have you thought about this and how it relates to your major? Or, hey, you are restorative, you like to fix things. Like, how do we want to look at using and leveraging that strength in some of your academic aspirations? We also do a large amount of events across campus. So this last year, we hosted a tie-dye event where we came and we did both where we added color to the t-shirts and we also bleach dyed for the first time, which was a lot of fun. And the whole time is just to help build community and to create an opportunity to talk about the things that we bring to the table and have fun doing it. And of course, food. Always food. Food, prizes, snacks, things that students are looking for and they need, and they also just want to come and be together in community. So the Strengths Initiative is part of their orientation pre-module. So when your students are going through that module, we are right there in it, and it kind of tells them a little bit more about the initiative. Also, our website has a ton of information. And of course, myself, Jordan, Emily, anyone in SASSY is more than happy to help answer any questions or to set up a phone call if you would like to talk more in depth about being a part of Strengths. So again, your student will see some information coming to them shortly, and let them know that we can't wait to welcome them and see them on campus and help empower them through talent. I'm going to kick it over to Jordan to talk a little bit about some of your upcoming events.
Yes, perfect. So again, when it comes to programming, as for first generation students, that looks a little bit different all the time on our campus. one big initiative that our office has done this year is our first generation student newsletter called First Page. So that's been going out to students over the last semester and a half as a way to bring first gen students together, spotlight some of our first gen students here on campus. It's all about that community and collaboration piece, giving them that sense of support with students that have shared backgrounds, shared lived experiences here on campus. So that's a virtual newsletter that goes out to them once a month with some information on campus resources, campus events, campus programs, and then keeping in mind with those first-gen students that are commuting to campus, that are transferring into campus, also has additional resources about Wichita and the city that they're going to be living in during their time here at Wichita State. So that's one of the programs that is kind of constantly flowing and growing within this department. Otherwise, this past semester, we've also hosted various events and programs for students to get engaged on campus. So whether it's just really quick events for them to come and meet each other and then just grab free prizes and free snacks, like Kennedy mentioned, prizes and snacks and food, things that students can have access to. So events like our grab and go event where students could come, interact, and then leave with a goodie bag full of nice treats and gifts for them. It's one that will continue this semester here as your students arrive to campus. Other programs and events have been our first generation. We did a panel where we brought in former and current first-gen students here on campus that kind of got to talk about their experiences and gave students the opportunity to learn about the student experience at WSU from WSU graduates who also have that first-gen student background. So it was really great program that we did. As Shocker preseason comes up, the week prior to school beginning, we will have a first-generation student field day. It's a free program for students to take part in. They will get to meet with other students, collaborate, build that community actually off campus. It's an off-campus program that we do. We will bus them to a field day location where they can have fun, play in the sun, games, food will be provided, free swag will be provided. So again, just that collaboration and harmony piece of what we are hoping to grow here on campus for our first-gen students. And then as a part of my role as a coordinator, I also do have office hours. So I've had students come in and meet with me to just kind of talk about their life, talk about questions they have about their place here on campus. Also just simple meetings that are just like, hey, like, what does this office on campus do? Whether it's our office SASE or just other resources on campus. And I've just been that sort of puzzle piece to get them to where they need to go. So that's a little bit about my role and myself as a resource. For your students, I'm accessible via Navigate, which Navigate 360 is an app that students can get, and they can book office hours with me, office hours with their any resource that they need here on campus, including, I believe, Success Mentors are accessible on there. But that is how they can reach out to me. And that's kind of how I am available here on campus for students via our office.
I will drop our link to our website and then some additional information into the chat. So if anyone has questions or if they have anything between now and when we're done, you can access that. Or as I said, yeah, please let us hang out with you. And we're excited to have you as a member of our family.
Phenomenal. I think we're going to, if you guys wouldn't mind just hanging out for a minute, and that way we'll get questions here at the end so we can have Dr. Bruner share information about some of our other TRIO partners and resources for first-gen students. But definitely great resources that your office provides, and we are excited to have you with us tonight. So I'm bringing on Dr. Bruner. Dr. Bruner serves as our Assistant Vice President for Student Success, and he's my colleague on the other side of the campus and works primarily with our academic colleges and partners and student services within our academic affairs division. And so, Dr. Bruner, if you want to just introduce yourself a little more than what I've done, and then share information that you have regarding all the other things for our student services for first-gen students.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. As Alicia said, my name is Brett Bruner. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about your first generation family support. I've been at Wichita State University a little more than a year, so a year and a few months, and I have the privilege of working with so many of our great areas that are really focused on supporting your student to be successful. And so those are areas, many of whom you've been introduced at various times throughout your student's journey into Wichita State University, but that includes areas like the Office of Student Success. You met Kim earlier, our success coaches, those who work in our tutoring center, those who run those orientation programs. I get the privilege of working with them. I get the privilege of working with our students in our Office of Online and Adult Learning, as well as one of the pieces that I get the privilege of working with is our first year seminars program. I know about a month ago or so, I had the opportunity to take part in one of these table talk sessions and share with you about our first year seminar program. Tonight, I'm excited though to talk to you about one of the other areas that I get to work with, and that is our first generation coordinating council. The first generation coordinating council is composed of about 40 to 45 faculty, staff, and students across campus who are all committed and supportive of improving the first generation student experience. Wichita State University has been actively engaging and supporting first generation college students since 1965, when we began our first TRIO program, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But we are always looking for opportunities in terms of how do we increase awareness of the first generation student experience? How do we provide the services to support your students to improve outcomes? We want every single one of your students, your first generation college students, to graduate from WSU. We want to be there to celebrate with them as well. And we want to engage faculty and staff in this work. I think the beauty of our first generation coordinating council, if you go onto wichita.edu/firstgen, you will see all of our members of our coordinating council there. And we find that there's so much power in that because you're going to see individuals across the campus who are diving into this conversation to say, how can we amplify first generation student success at WSU? You're going to find representatives from each of our academic colleges, from student affairs, from the library, athletics, information technology. The list goes on because we as a campus community are committed. You've heard this number before, but 48% of WSU students identify as first generation students. And so we know that that is something that we strive to bring honor for and really help students and their parents be proud of this identity because we want to celebrate with you. And so through the coordinating council, our role is to create that awareness and to work with all of those areas like the strengths assessment and staff engagement office, which you just heard those colleagues talk about some of the great programming that's going on there. And we know that there's additional programming that's happening in some of our academic colleges. I think 3 of our academic colleges have peer mentor programs that have first generation focuses in there. We are in the process. I have in my inbox our first year seminar course that is truly devoted to the first generation student experience and to helping first gen students tell their stories. So how do we bring all these people together to really uplift the first generation student experience? 3 of the key campus partners that we have around the first generation coordinating council table who are not able to be here today, but we wanted to share on their behalf are those representatives from our TRIO college programs. Now, you may be listening to this and your student may have been involved with a pre-college TRIO program. Maybe it was Upward Bound Math and Science, a variety of TRIO programs, Educational Opportunity Center. There's a variety of them that exist there. Regardless if your students participated in that pre-college TRIO program or not, there could be an opportunity for your student to be engaged with TRIO college programs at the college level here when they're at WSU. Wichita.edu/TRIO, and I appreciate my colleagues who are typing those links into the chat, will be your go-to resource to help understand all of the college and pre-college TRIO programs, because you may still have a student an up-and-coming shocker who's maybe eligible for a pre-college TRIO program. But there are 3 college TRIO programs. The first one is TRIO Student Support Services. You may hear referred to it as TRIO SSS. TRIO Student Support Services is for students who are first generation, and they're also limited income. So maybe they're eligible for Pell Grants or other need-based aid and scholarships. when a student applies to participate in one of these federal TRIO programs, there's a variety of benefits that a student can receive. For students who participate in the TRIO Student Support Services Program, they can receive that individualized tutoring. That may be something that you and or your student are interested in. They also can receive that comprehensive and personalized degree planning. They have access to a technology learning lab just for other students in the Student Support Services Program. They have access to a textbook lending library, academic success skill development, scholarships that are exclusively for TRIO Student Support Services. I think one of the values of all of our TRIO college programs is that sense of community that it brings for our first generation students. I've been working with first generation students for the last 12 years on multiple campuses. And one of the things that I have heard early on when I was beginning this work was a student said, I feel like I'm the only one. And that is something that we never want to hear. We never want a first generation student to feel like they're the only first generation student. So that's why you will hear Alicia and Kim and myself and anybody at Wichita State talk about that nearly 50% of our students are first generation college students. We want them to be proud of that and recognize that there's a lot of others across campus. There's a lot of faculty and staff. So that sense of community that participating in TRIO Student Support Services can bring is a significant value. The second TRIO college program that I'd highlight is TRIO Disability Support Services. You may hear referred to as DSS. And DSS assists first generation and limited income students who may have a learning, a physical, or psychological disability. So in addition to the academic support and tutoring, they have access to adaptive computer equipment, other services, tutoring, career planning resources, in that sense of community among other first generation students. So that those are our descriptors that apply to your first generation student. I would encourage you visit our TRIO DSS team, and they would be more than happy to work with you to get your student signed up or to apply to participate in the Disability Support Services program of TRIO. The last TRIO college program that I would emphasize here is our McNair Scholars Program. Now, the McNair Scholars Program is not a program that your student can enroll in their first year, but as a sophomore, as a junior, as a senior, we're hoping that they're engaged in McNair Scholars Program. So the McNair Scholars Program is really focused on preparing first generation and limited income students who want to pursue advanced degrees, particularly PhD and doctoral programs, by giving them undergraduate research experience early and often at their undergraduate experience. So as your student is thinking about maybe after I get my bachelor's degree, I want to go pursue a PhD in aerospace engineering or psychology or fill in the blank, applying for the McNair Scholars Program is a great opportunity to get mentored by a faculty member, gain that research experience, and even gain a stipend for conducting research as an undergraduate student. Sometimes they're also able to get application fees waived when they're applying to doctoral degree programs. They have the opportunity to start getting published, traveling to conferences, engaging in professional development. So it's so many great resources through all of our 3 TRIO college programs that I definitely want to share that on your behalf. Finally, I wanted to share with you as family members of our first generation Shockers to say thank you for going on this journey with us. I know that sometimes it can be a scary or uncertain future, and our role is to alleviate those concerns that you have. You're in great hands with Alicia here as our go-to person for all things parent and family relations and engagement. So know that we're here to walk alongside you. Our job is to make sure that we can partner with you to make this journey that your first generation student is going on less scary and less intimidating. And so if there's ever any way that we can be a resource for you, or if something's missing, or if there's an opportunity for us to amplify something in your journey to support your first generation student, please let us know. Our first generation coordinating council is always looking for opportunities to really amplify those outcomes of our first generation students. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor back over to Alicia.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Bruner. There is so much that was shared. I want to make sure that we have time to ask a couple questions. And then I also want to make sure that I give Ms. Kim Sandlin some time to share information about the university success teams that we have and a new building that we have opening up our Success Center that is specifically designed with students in mind and making sure that we have a one-stop shop place for our students to go for just all of those wraparound supports, whether it's meeting with our TRIO folks, going in to meet with the success coach, tutoring, their SOS or care team, student outreach and support member, our Shocker support locker, many amazing things within our Student Success Center. So before we jump in there, we do have some questions that we have. So one of them that came in is, how do I sign up for your events? So I'm gonna think that one's probably for you, Jordan, for your events. How would students sign up for your events, or where would they go for that?
So typically with our events, we do, when you're on campus, we do typically, of course, marketing on campus. We also utilize Navigate as a big information center. Oftentimes we will use that as a way to send out links to sign up for events, sending that information directly to students. And then another resource that we typically use is going to be Campus Lab. I'm blanking on the name of the resource itself that we use for students to post events and sign up that way.
Shocker Sync. Yes.
Thank you.
I was
Thank
sitting
you.
here and I kept saying, sorry, family members.
It's Shocker Sync,
Shocker Sync.
which your student will start to have access to once they're here on campus. And that's actually a resource where they can use to also engage with student organizations and various campus events and programs that are happening, and they can sign up, RSVP that way, engage with the people that are the offices on campus that are hosting those events. So that will be a huge resource, is going to be Shocker Sync. And then for us, like I said, we are utilizing Navigate. And then your student has access to Navigate via the new app that they have access to, and they can download the app and start utilizing that, and we'll get them there too.
Yep. I would also say too that if your student hasn't set up their Navigate account yet or anything like that, and they're not quite sure where to go, the Shocker preseason website is another great place to start, especially for all of our upcoming preseason programs that we're getting ready to launch. And so that's where, like, the field day that Jordan was talking about earlier, and a couple of other events that are getting us all started and really revved up for this semester will be easily accessible on that website too. So that would be a great starting point as well.
Yep, and I just dropped the link for folks who were asking. If you go to wichita.edu/first steps, you can sign up for that particular one that Jordan was talking about to connect your student. I think the great thing about the First Steps program is that those students will stay connected with Jordan, and there'll be follow-up support with them throughout the academic year. And so when Dr. Bruner and Kennedy and everyone's talking about having a sense of really building community and having that engaged support being critical point in a student's just academic journey while they're here. Some of these preseason programs that Kennedy was talking about is a phenomenal way for students to have and begin to build that solid foundation of creating that sense of community and belonging with others who may have similar backgrounds or interests within that particular preseason program. And so again, going to wichita.edu/first steps for the one specifically for our first generation college students, or again, wichita.edu/preseason, and you can have a look at all of our preseason programs that we have available. The other question, and this may be for Dr. Bruner, is there anything required for my students to sign up for the programs you talked about? So how would they go about getting signed up?
Yeah. So visiting wichita.edu
with one of those programs.
Yeah. So visiting wichita.edu/TRIO, TRIO, is going to be your homepage to all of our TRIO programs, both the 3 TRIO college programs, as well as all of our pre-college programs. So when you visit those pages, you'll see at the towards right in the middle of the page, is going to list the 3 TRIO college programs, SSS, DSS, and McNair. Don't worry if you're like, I can't remember which one goes with which one. You click on it, you can read a little bit more about the program. And then there's going to be the short application on each of those. So each of the programs do require a short application to make sure that your student meets the first generation component as well as the limited income piece as well. As you're working through those applications, it's going to list a point of contact. So if you have questions about SSS and you're trying to find Dr. Roan, who's the director of that program, or the DSS program, and you're trying to find Vanessa's contact information, all of them are right there. But as I see my colleagues have put the links in the chat there. Wichita.edu/TRIO is going to be your go-to place to find all things about our TRIO college programs.
Perfect. All right. Kim, would you mind jumping in and sharing some information about our success teams and the Shocker Success Center? And then Kennedy and Jordan have talked a lot about this thing called Navigate 360 and a new, maybe phenomenal app that is out. And so do you mind touching on that a little as well, just to share some of that great news with our folks of what students can experience and get by downloading the app?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So first thing is this collection and this new idea. I'm not sure it's really a collection of people, but it's this idea of a success team. It's a group of students who work together to create experiences and resources and things for students, but they work together to support the students in a specific academic area. So many of you have students who have already attended orientation. Great. Some of you have yet to attend orientation. That's cool too. One of the things that students get is a Rubik's Cube. And so I use this as a visual kind of explanation about what success teams are really, created for and the purpose of success teams. So those of us who are Gen X know what a Rubik's Cube is, right? I cheated when I had my first Rubik's Cube and peeled off the stickers and read it because I wasn't smart enough for that, right? My kid can, solve one of these in less than a minute. But sometimes our students' brains are a little, even our own brains are a little messed up sometimes, and they don't exactly align right, and the little pieces are not making sense, and they're not coordinated, and we get a little overwhelmed, and we get kind of mixed up a little bit. The success teams are there to kind of solve and answer those questions and solve problems and help with students to kind of sort everything out and untangle some of the problems or the kinds of things that they're dealing with. They have a lot of things happening. Our students are busy. Mostly, our first generation students are students who are working. They're helping and contributing to their family in terms of helping with maybe younger siblings, or maybe the care of some other folks in their family. They're working a lot of hours, and so they have a lot of roles, and sometimes life just gets overwhelming and gets a little mixed up, right? So the success team is there to help them solve those problems and those issues and navigate those different pieces. So this is one of the pieces one of the things that your students will get at orientation, and they will meet their success team. And the success team is led by a success coach, and that's a person of a member of our success coach team through Student Success. And so they're going to bring people together with our care team and our SOS folks. They're going to bring people together from financial aid. They're going to be bringing together their advisor. Who else is on here, right? Our library folks. One of the probably, most overlooked maybe resource on campus is our library and our librarians, and how they can help your students with their academic success in terms of understanding what research is, and writing, and if they get stuck in writing a long paper and they need to get kind of unstuck, a librarian is really, really great resource, and they are excited and among the most excited on our campus to work with us and to welcome our new students and help them along. So lots of folks will make up these success teams. There's going to be lots of outreach directly to your students from a member of their success team. And so we will do that outreach to students. But these are folks that work really together, closely together, so that, let's say if your student is an engineer, then Stephanie, as the success coach, is going to call upon Aaron Evans over in the Shocker Career Accelerator, and they're going to connect with a specific person that's going to help students within the College of Engineering. Same thing is true. Larry Compton is going to reach out to our fine arts students, and he's going to connect people to the folks that are specifically experts in helping fine arts students. And so that's the idea of the success teams. We really want to create these, just these support teams to help students through navigating their first semester, their first year, really supporting students through graduation. So those are really important people to meet, and they will meet those students or those folks at orientation. The other thing, that I wanted to mention is Navigate. We've talked a lot about Navigate and what that is. In your students' orientation folder, when they get their folder when they check in, is a handout that looks like this. I'll try to sort of put it up there. I'm hopeful that it's reading the right way because it flips my screen. So I hope it's not backwards. This is a handout that your student received in their packet. These are the instructions on how to download our student app, which is Navigate. This is the app that students can, use right from their phones in the palm of their hand, and it will tell them why they might want to download this. What is the benefit of doing that? So scheduling, advising, and tutoring sessions. Or appointments. That may be with an academic advisor, that could be with their success coach, that could be with someone in financial aid. A lot of these, again, members of the success teams and our members and our partners over in student affairs, they are going to, like Jordan and Kennedy are talking about, they will all schedule appointments and through this app, and the students can do that right from their phone, and that's a great tool for them. They can favorite campus resources, so if they're kind of looking through, there's a lot, we talk a lot about how much there is at Wichita State to support students, but again, we can't want it more than your student wants it. Your student has to want to believe in their own success, and they're going to have to be successful, and they're going to have to respond to us and participate and engage in order to be as successful as they can be. So they can favorite campus resources, so they can kind of see those things that they might utilize more often or need more often than others. Straight from their phone, they can virtually raise their hand for help. They can say, hey, I've got a problem or a question, or I need a tutor and I don't know where to go or how to do it. I'm going to raise my hand because I need some academic help. And then our folks will see that information and provide some outreach and connection to either an advisor or a tutor, etc. They can see their class schedule in the app. There's a lot of different places where your students can figure out and find their class schedule, but certainly you can find it in the Navigate app. And then they can also sign up for study buddies. So if they, are interested in creating a space, maybe they want to come over to the Shocker Learning Center and, get 2 or 3 or 4 people together from their class, they can, opt in to do that. And then they can, meet up at the Shocker Learning Center and study together and be more academically successful. So lots of things that they can do through the student app. So the first thing all they need to do, the first step, is to go to either Google Play or their App Store, their Apple App Store. And what they're looking for is Navigate Student, and the little icon is this blue square with a little yellow kind of columns looking piece there. So that blue Navigate Student icon is what they're looking for when they search Navigate Student in their app store. Once they do that, they use their they log in with their WSU ID and their password that they set up, and that logs them into their information. So it gives them their class schedule and things that are specific to them, including things like holds that may be placed on their account, so they can see, oh, I need to, so I need to meet this deadline, or I need to make sure that I meet with my success coach to take care of this requirement that I have. So again, can't talk enough about how easy everything is in the palm of your hands, and how helpful the app is. So encourage your students to do that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we talked a lot about, I think there's there's a lot more than 3, but there's 3 TRIO programs that serve our current college students at Wichita State. And that is, again, TRIO DSS, TRIO SSS, and McNair. One of the great things about our new Chakra Success Center is that if any of us that are now kind of moving in, you see, every time I've joined you, I think I have a different background, but we're finally moved in, right? So as students are coming in, if we have a conversation with a student and they indicate, hey, I'm first gen, or maybe we say, hey, do you have anybody that has been through this before that you can help guide you through this? Do you have a member of your family? And they say, no, I'm the first one to attend, or somehow we figure out that the student is a first generation student. The great thing is we're going to walk across the street, excuse me. And I'm not going across the street, but I am going across the hallway, and I'm going to connect that student. I'm going to take that student over to TRIO Disability Support Services, and I'm going to connect that student in the moment to that resource. And I know everybody else in this building is committed to doing the same thing, right? If maybe I'm going to walk them upstairs to our SSS, so our TRIO Student Support Services, and I'm going to connect them with SSS so that they can take advantage of that. Both of those TRIO areas, like Dr. Bruner had said already, they have their own specific, unique tutoring programs, in addition to the Chakra Learning Center, which is half of the floor, this huge new space that is really designed to help students study better, connect with their tutors, and then also co-locate multiple tutoring support areas just in this building alone. So we are able to walk students from place to place, because what we've found is that oftentimes we will encourage students to go to, if you go over to such and such building, they're going to help you. And we're not doing that anymore, because we need to be a little bit more intrusive, perhaps. Also grab their hand, perhaps, maybe not literally grabbing their hand, but let's walk you to this resource, because what we also know is that once a student has visited a place on campus, they're likely to come back just if they know, hey, I can go in and I can ask, whomever, Cynthia at our front desk. She's really nice. And so I know that if I walk in there, she's going to be really nice to me, and it's going to be less intimidating to walk in. So we're going to physically walk students and be connecting them to the resources, whether it's One Stop, whether it's TRIO, whether it's tutoring, whether it's a student connected, to the military, something, any of those kinds of clues that we run across and that we can kind of figure out about our students. We're going to be intentionally and directly referring students to what they need. So that's the beauty of, I could go on forever, but I won't. That's the beauty of the new Chakra Success Center, right outside of in between the library and the Radigan Student Center. And so there's kind of this avenue between fun and eating and everything, and then we're going to still be mingling, but we're going to have a little bit more of an academic focus, and then we're going to move to the library and do research, right? So there's this interesting flow of spaces and places that students can go for all of those types of resources. So hopefully that is helpful in terms of all of the things that we have outlined, especially for those that are supporting our first generation students. So with all of that, what else do you have?
That is a lot of resources. And I just thank you for all of that, Kim. I think one of the things I just want to reiterate what Dr. Bernard said is that this can be a really overwhelming and scary process for a lot of our families. Having our students go to college and be the first and not understanding and knowing what that process is, or what we should be doing, or what we should be saying, or where should we be sending our students, all of that can make us feel a little intimidated. And I think Dr. Bernard said it best, is that sometimes it's just like, what am I doing here? And that imposter syndrome sits in, and it just makes us pause and question the entire purpose of what we're doing in this journey, right? And I remember as a student feeling that, even coming back as a graduate student later on. And the thing that I can't express enough is that the folks on the call today, the departments that we've talked about, they are all on standby and ready to support our students throughout their journey. And so making sure that you as a family member are staying connected with our area to make sure that you are getting the information and help that you need in order for us to help you help your students be successful. So I'm going to do a shameless plug and share that if you've not already done so, please connect with us on wichita.edu/Shocker Family. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter, and this is where we will send information directly to you on questions you should be asking your student, things that they should be doing, what are the things that are coming up, ways to stay engaged and connected. And so Jordan and Kennedy, I talked about specific programs and events. We're going to throw some of that in there and saying, hey, this is coming up. Remind your students to take advantage of this. Kim may send us something saying, hey, remind them about tutoring. And so a lot of great resources will be sent to you in our monthly newsletter. So make sure you check that out. But whenever in doubt, please do not hesitate to reach out and contact us. We are on standby, ready to assist with anything that you may need. You can contact us at shocker.family@wichita.edu, and we'll get back to you. Or you can always reach out to me directly at alicia.newell@wichita.edu. But I do want to make sure that I take time to thank my friends who joined us tonight, because it's really important. I think their commitment of making sure that we're sharing the information with our families shows that we truly want to make sure our families and our students have what they need to be successful. And that speaks volumes with their commitment to show up time in, day out, whenever we put out the call. And so thank you for once again showing up, Dr. Bruner, and Jordan and Kennedy and Kim, because it definitely makes a difference. Essential. I appreciate everyone's time and expertise. Thank you so much, Joe. We appreciate you for joining us tonight. I will say, if you have any other questions that may be out there, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, you know how to get a hold of us. If you have yet to attend new student orientation, if you have questions about, I know we're getting a lot of questions in our family Facebook group and page and emails about move-in and what's happening with move-in. I think the biggest question we're getting a lot is, what size of sheets do my students need? What can I bring? What can I not bring? And so I do want to put a plug in. Next Tuesday, we have our final table talk, which will cover your Shocker basic needs. And this is where we're talking about housing, the do's and don'ts for how up that U-Haul and bring, because you're going to turn around and take it back with you. not enough space in the room for all that. So we're going to talk about housing, expectations, things you need to know for housing, move-in, what that process entails and looks like. We're also going to talk more in depth about dining services, and if your student is living on campus or not, they have access to a dining plan where they can eat within any of our dining facilities on campus. And so you can tune in to learn more about that. And so Kim will be leading that for you next week while I go on vacation. And so make sure you tune in, ask questions. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. Our contact information will be available after the live. So don't hesitate to connect. But again, thank you for joining us, and everyone have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.